Hey everybody, today we're going to do a little intro to the use of fraction bars, or fraction strips as they're sometimes called. These are a math manipulative created from paper, foam, or in our case plastic. They provide a multi-sensory approach to learning about fraction concepts and operations. The strips are designed to represent varying fraction amounts to help make connections between fractions. So today we'll just kind of walk through some of the different uses of fraction bars. There's a lot of great videos out there if you want to go into detail about each one, but today we just kind of use it as an overview. The set we have here is plastic. You can get these from Amazon or your local teacher store, or you can make them out of construction paper and a ruler, and there's some great videos online as well about how to do that if you need to. So let's get started. So first we'll just kind of jump into what is a fraction. Simply put, a fraction is a piece of a whole. So with our set we always have a whole piece that we can refer to. And then we can start with explaining that there's two parts to a fraction, a top number and a bottom number. So for our purposes we'll use the fraction 1/2. So we can see there's a numerator and our denominator. Our denominator tells us how many equal parts we have, while our numerator tells us how many of those parts are taken. So what we can do is we can come over here to our fraction bars and we can take the 1/2 and put it next to our whole, and we can see that we have a one part of or one piece, and we have two parts. So if we have our other one over here, we have them together, we have our whole. So you can do basic with that. You can do the same with 1/3 and so on. From there we can move on to adding numbers with like denominators. So if we start with something like say we have 2/4, and say we want to add 1/4 to it, we can take our fourths. We can start with 1/2/4, and we can bring in plus 1/4. Then we can count them up: 1, 2, 3. So we know we have 3/4. And then moving on from that, we can move on to adding numbers with unlike denominators. So if you're not at a point where we're teaching the kids to find a common denominator, the fraction bars are a great way to kind of start us off there. So we can start out with something simple as 1/3 plus 1/2. So what we can do is we can find our thirds. We can put a 1/3 plus 1/2, and then from that we can look at our back over here at our fraction bars and try to figure out how we can come up with a like denominator to add them together. So for this we'll say 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5/6. So looking at that, we can see that they're equal on the end, so we know that we have 1/3 plus 1/2 is equivalent to, or is equal to, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/6. And then we can move on to subtracting with unlike denominators as well. Always keeping our 1 here at the top. We'll pull our 6 down here to the bottom for now. So we'll start with our 1, and say we want to find out something like 3/4 minus 1/2. We can pretty much do it the exact same way. We can start with 3/4, but instead of adding another to it, what we're going to do is take the 1/2 and we'll put it underneath. So from here we need to figure out how much is left, right? What this 3/4 taking away a half will leave us. Well, for this one it's pretty easy to see that we have a fourth left. So we know that 3/4 minus the 1/2 leaves us with a 1/4. There's a lot of other things we can do with these, but that's kind of just an overview today to show you just some of the basic uses to get you started. These manipulatives are great as a intro manipulative at the beginning of fractions, and like I just showed you, as you learn to add fractions with common denominators, without common denominators, and add and subtract fractions, you can keep pulling these out and reference back to them. I hope you found this informative, and have a good day.